Hello, everyone. How are you? I'm excited to connect with you. If you're new to this space and you don't know who the heck you're watching, my name is Jennifer Longmore. I am founder of souljourneys.ca and the number one Akashic record trading school in the world. And we offer a ton of things. We offer all kinds of training on consciousness, Akashic records, and so on. But we also offer training for wealth consciousness and then business consciousness. And in the Purpose Posse, we focus on scaling your conscious business. So if you're in this group, you're well beyond startup and you are generating consistent income. You simply want to get to the next level. And that's what today's live is going to support you with. So what does it mean when I say your clients are only looking for two things, or they're in two different decision points when they're coming to you? All the time. Every single time someone wants to look at joining one of your offers, there's two things that are going through their head. And then it's our job to understand this so that we can address this accordingly to the best of our ability in how we engage with people, how we write our copy, the way in which we design a sales page, for example, or an invitation, how we do a Facebook Live, really anything in between. We're always speaking into these two things. And then at some point, it's on that person to decide which one of these, which side of the fence they're going to be on, basically. So I'm a big believer that sitting on the fence is one of the greatest ways to start going backwards in business. A lot of people sit on the fence in a decision. They think that if they just sit there and wait long enough, that someone will come along and make it easier for them to make a decision. And part of why we don't make a decision is because we worry about all the other doors that are going to close when we decide to open one door, because we can't walk through all the doors. But we like being in the energy of possibility, and sometimes having a ton of decisions to make, we misidentify those decisions as possibilities. And so we hang out in that and feel like if we just keep thinking about possibly one day, maybe sort of, kind of, I might potentially, possibly one day invest in myself, then we get to swim in that. But really, it's just a form of self-sabotage, right? And so people will move out of that because being in a decision is a decision. People are always choosing. They just don't always choose what they think they're choosing. So once they move out of being on the fence, if that's where they're at, then they're going to be having two different choices. One of them is, this is a gamble. Investing in myself is a gamble. Joining this program, taking this trip, hiring this mentor, signing up for this $27 product, like, it doesn't matter what it is. If they view it as a gamble and they feel that it's a high risk investment with unclear returns, then it's going to be harder for them unless they have a high risk tolerance, unless they actually like to gamble. And most people don't. They're going to just sit in that space of maybe liking you and resonating with you, maybe even resonating with your offer, but still lingering in the decision of, is this a gamble or is this an investment? Which implies that somehow the program delivery isn't going to be as promised, right? So it's easier to make it about the offer, and maybe it's not going to meet my expectations, but hopefully you can hear in what I'm sharing that if someone views something as a gamble, that's an inside job. No amount of convincing is going to convince people that it's not a gamble. That's going to be on them, and that's a safe place to stay, right? It's a safe place to not have anything required of us if we view everything as a gamble. That's not to say that people haven't had investments that go wonky, or maybe signed up for programs where deliverables weren't met and things like that. But for the most part, when people are in that mindset of it's a gamble, there's some part of their brain that thinks that it's that other person's responsibility to do the heavy lifting for them or to get them results. Now you can imagine in my position, having done business coaching for many years, like, there's so much that's out of my control as to whether people get results. Like, I can't actually fly to someone's home and stand over them and watch that they're sending out the emails that they claim they're sending out, that they're marketing as often as they say they're marketing, or sending things out consistently. I can't go to events for them. There's a lot of things I can't do for them, right? And there's a lot of things that like that person has to be willing to shift. There's all kinds of things that have to happen. But when someone views something as a gamble, really they're not willing to take a risk on themselves. That's what it is, right? Because we can make anything work if we genuinely believe in ourselves. Most people don't. They like the idea of what you have to offer. But as long as it feels like a gamble, it's going to be harder for them to say yes. So there are some things that we can do on our end to mitigate that, right? We need to connect the dots for them and show them that this offer has value, that here is going to be your ROI on this. It doesn't matter what you're selling. When people can see the connection of, yes, this is worth my time, money, and energy to invest in this particular space, whatever it is, one-on-one work, a group program, a digital program, etc., then they're willing to step into that. When they are not, they will look for all of the deflecting things that are going on, right? Or they'll sit in indecision, or they'll push and pull with you. They'll just have one more question, which turns into email ping pong, right? And now you're like 20 questions back and forth, things like that. Now, when that happens, we want to check in and see, did I actually articulate very clearly what this program's about, why it's going to be of value to someone, and so on, because sometimes that's our own doing. I've been in that situation, so I know when I look back at people's questions, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I should have put that on the sales page, right? But I'm talking about the types of questions that you can't reasonably answer. Like, you can't promise people results because you don't know if they're going to implement. You don't know to what degree they're going to lean into the information, embody it, do the work, integrate, apply it, things like that, right? So the other place that people are at when they're making a buy decision is that they're investing in themselves. They view these things as investments. Someone at my level of business, someone who's at, let's say, 6 figures and higher, they recognize the value of investing in themselves. They build it into their budget every year. They know that investing in themselves is one of the greatest ways that they move their business forward. It's not even about investing in a mentor and so on. Just for business coaching, it doesn't matter what the investment is. You know, I still made leaps and bounds when I was investing my time, money, and energy in doing my black belt. When I was studying or training, I should say, to do my Latin dance competition. There's ways that we invest time, money, and energy. And I could have viewed all of that stuff as a gamble. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to get my money's worth. I don't know if I'm going to get what I need out of this. Or I can decide. The people that decide that they're going to get results, the people that decide that they're willing to bank on themselves, that they trust in themselves enough to get results, that they know any investment that they make is going to compound exponentially, and that whenever they invest in themselves, it never comes the way that they expected. It never, ever comes in the package that we expect. We always get what we need when we invest in programs of any kind. Like when I was doing my black belt, and I'm taking this out of business for a reason, right? So we can kind of see things differently. I had no idea the journey that I was going to go on between each belt. I really did become a different version of me through each one and let go of the versions of me that I didn't want to bring with me. And it became very evident going on that journey, the self-talk that I was having that wasn't supportive, or the ways that I moved through life that weren't supportive to me. It helped me cultivate better energy management, better boundaries, more confidence, more strength, all kinds of things that on a metaphoric level translated into my business actually very easily. That's just an example. Doing the Latin dance competition and preparing for that was just before COVID, so sadly that got interrupted. But I was kind of pooping my pants a little bit at the thought of going on stage in front of tons of people I didn't know, doing something that I really hadn't been doing very long. But I had faith in my ability to make it through that, right? I was willing to take the risk, knowing that it may not go the way that I planned. I wasn't attached to outcomes. I wasn't expecting to get first place. I wasn't even interested in any of that. I just wanted to go for the experience because I knew the experience would stretch me. And that's what entrepreneurs at a certain level do. They understand that investing in themselves is just that next piece of the puzzle, so to speak, right? But this is regardless of what you offer and regardless of where your clients are at income-wise and sort of mindset-wise, they're always making these two decisions. That's the only place they're ever in. I'm willing to invest, or investing in myself is a gamble. So the people that are already wired to invest, they're likely already looking for you. They're already Googling solutions, and maybe you come up on a Google search, or they have a referral, or you just happen to post about something a certain day on social media, and they're in, right? When they're in a gamble mindset, and that's completely out of your control, right? There's, as I mentioned, there's a safety in believing everything is a gamble, and that's likely how they do relationships. It's likely how they do a lot of things, right? So they just don't have the trust and faith in themselves to know that they're responsible for their results, to be requiring more of themselves, to be leading themselves differently, and to really lean in and receive, because that's what's required, right? We have to be able to receive from our mentor, from our program, whatever. So when someone's in a gambling mindset, there's some stuff, as I mentioned, that we can do to mitigate that, like making sure in the copy that we're speaking to those things. But you also want to lean in and say, is this person actually energetically in a space where they're ready to lean into this? This is why people get discouraged on sales calls, for example, because if you're inviting a ton of people onto your schedule to have sales calls with them, when you haven't assessed if they've moved beyond the this is a gamble phase, then you are going to be wasting a lot of time. You're going to be, 8 out of 10 of your calls potentially are going to go nowhere. And then you're going to feel defeated, or you're going to feel like you suck at sales calls. Or if you're doing this through direct messenger, same thing. We have to energetically feel into, where is this person at? If we're dealing one-on-one with people, by the way, if we're just dealing with a bunch, if we're writing copy to people that we don't know yet are going to be interested, we learn to anticipate some of the questions. We learn to anticipate some of the resistance people are going to have to stepping into our offer. When I offer money programs, I know I'm going to hear a bunch of money stories about why people can't step into the thing that's going to help them shift the thing that they keep complaining about. I know that's going to happen. So I address that in my challenges. I address that in my sales pages and so on. And the people that still view it as a gamble won't step in, and that's okay. The people that actually step into money programs with me are people that already are generating income, and they just want to break through to their next income ceiling. They're not bringing all of the boundary stuff to the door. They're not dumping that all in my lap as though it's my responsibility to help them transmute and transition the decisions that they made for years prior to even finding me, or to finding you, for example. Same with business. When I'm working with entrepreneurs that are 6 figures and higher, they wouldn't dare have the audacity to think that I'm responsible for their results. They got to that level in business because they know that ultimately the buck stops with them, that they're the CEO of their company. If they're showing up as with an employee mindset or a manager mindset in their company, then yeah, some part of them might feel that I or some other business coach is responsible for their results. Those are not people that I serve. But for people that are beyond a certain level, they know that they're responsible. They're the CEO of their company, and that whatever results they get and whatever speed they get them in is directly related to how much they lean in, and how much they trust themselves, and how much they're willing to be uncomfortable and be stretched. We all say we want growth, right? We all say we want growth. But then when we have to be with, well, what's required of me if I'm going to grow, that's where we get stuck. Some people are able to lean through that, and some people are not. We're on a journey of contemplation. Like, the decision making is basically, I'm pre-contemplative. I'm deciding that I might possibly be interested in quitting smoking, for example. Then they're contemplating, okay, I want to quit smoking, but I'm contemplating when I'm going to quit smoking. And then they move from contemplation to decision. So this is exactly where your clients are at. And this is great news. The reason why I'm sharing this today is it's great news, because if this is the mindset that people are in at any time before they're about to buy, and this is existing clients, these are people you haven't met yet, these are returning clients, they're always going to be in this energy. And then additionally, you get to decide whether you want to be holding space for that or not. I get it. And I'm totally cool with people being in that gambling mindset. I get that as we stretch ourselves, it can feel that way. And so I'll do my part to try and help people move the needle, because I do want to activate as many lighthouses as possible. And I do want to make sure people are fully resourced. But I'm also not going to chase people, and I'm not going to beg people to show up for themselves, right? And I'm sure you agree with that as well. So it's a bit of an interesting line to walk. Obviously, we want to be doing mindset work around being available for those that show up when they're ready to invest, right? So that we're not doing a lot of pulling and a lot of, convincing and bringing the horse to water and still not having them drink. We don't want to be in that energy. That's not a good use of our energy. And honestly, when people do that consistently, it's pretty disrespectful of our energy field, right? If you know that you're pre-contemplative, then don't reach out to people and don't engage hours of their time, right? Trying to do a dance with them and convince and then put it on them to convince you to do the thing that only you can do. But then we've got the folks that are ready to invest in themselves, and that's who you really want to focus on. And that's who you want to speak to in your copy. That's who you want to speak to in social media and so on. And I get this as someone that has a bad habit of speaking to struggle bunnies, right? I see people struggle and I'm like, oh, I so badly want you to move forward. I so badly want you to get out of your own way. You can have all of these things you claim you want if you just decide it. But the truth is, people are getting something out of that, even if they think they're not. They're getting something out of being stuck. Because anything we're creating, we're choosing. And anything we're experiencing, we're choosing on some level. I'm not talking about the big things, the isms. I'm not talking about the racism and the sexism and the ageism and stuff. I'm talking about sort of the day-to-day reality of what we're choosing and the results that we're getting. So I hope this helps. If you are ready to scale your company, if you know you're someone that is ready to invest, that you understand the ROI of investing in things, and you want to take your business to the next level and you want to make a quantum leap, I'm offering 3 quantum growth assessment sessions. So we're going to look at the 3 pillars of quantum growth, and I'm going to assess each area for you to show you what's working, what might need to be tweaked, what might need to be amplified, and then we'll create a next step plan together to help you determine how you can really bust through your next income leap at the speed of light. So if that's of interest to you, just private message me or comment in the chat, and I'll come back and let you know more information about that. And we'll see if it's a good fit, because again, I'm committed to helping you grow. As you know, I wake up every day thinking, okay, how many prayers can I answer today? So if you're hearing this and it feels good in your body and you know that it's time, right? You're moved beyond the point of it's a gamble and you're ready to invest. And now we just need to figure out what that looks like for you and how solid your foundation is to leap from. Then we can create a plan that really supports you. That's not cookie cutter, of course, that's very unique and bespoke to you, and see what you can create this year. So thank you for being here, my friends. I hope this was helpful. If you do want to work through your money blocks and you haven't done so already, I'm going to put in the chat how to move through your money blocks and how to shift them right away. I have a free training for you. It's souljourneys.ca/money. So if you download that, you can learn what the 5 big energy blocks may be for you with respect to money, and then some really practical tips of how to shift that right away. So I hope this helps. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Bye for now.